Hey guys, Sin here with another field upgrade for you. Today we're going to look at the main battle tank in Battlefield 4. I got some pretty good footage in a round I was playing on Dragon Pass, and I thought it was a great way to show you guys how adapting your loadout to the map and the situation that you put yourself in when you're driving the main battle tank merits an adaptive loadout. Now, like any vehicle in Battlefield 4, there's not really a best loadout, a best all-around loadout that will result in a win for every fight you get into. But if you position yourself on the map correctly, depending on your loadout, you will end up having a lot more success in the MBT. And something that this video shows evidence of is that gunner, somebody who will repair you and mitigate the damage you take when you're in the middle of a fight, is very, very helpful. And in this round, I actually don't have a gunner. I request one several times throughout the round, and I look for to my squad to help me with that. I end up wasting a lot of time having to jump out of my own tank and repair myself, when having a gunner would have allowed me to keep firing at the enemy. But I'm still quite successful with the unorthodox loadout that I brought to this particular game. One of my favorite primary weapons for the MBT is the high explosive shell, as it does insane amounts of damage, especially to the sides and rear of other main battle tanks. But it's not great at range. It has a very slow trajectory speed and has a lot of drop. So something to take note of when you're using the high explosive round is pairing it with a secondary weapon and optics that will complement it. And this applies to any loadout that you pick for the MBT. In this situation, I actually used the staff shell as my secondary because I wanted to be capable of taking out any other piece of armor in a one-on-one fight during this round. And the high explosive round plus the staff shell and the auto loader that I actually applied to the main battle tank ended up winning me pretty much every single one of the armor battles that I ended up in. But that creates a weak point, and I'll show evidence of this in a little bit. When you pair a primary and a secondary to serve the same purpose, you end up gimping yourself in other ways, like infantry. And you can see I take a ton of pot shots at infantry trying to get them, but I'm not very effective. Having a gunner would help kind of supplement my weaknesses, but if I really wanted to be good against infantry, I'd have a gunner and a secondary weapon that complemented the gunner, like the canister shell, which would be great for the optics I actually chose, because this map is huge and I used the night vision optics because I like seeing the mines on the road and the other equipment. It shines really bright, as well as players. So if I really wanted to take advantage of, say, the high explosive shell, in this round, if I had paired it with the canister round or the HMG or the LMG, something that can fight infantry, I might have been a little more successful. But as you can see, I get a lot of armor kills. Almost every piece of armor I see, I kill. So it's really a trade-off, and it depends on your playstyle and where you put yourself on the map. I ended up in the very middle at Delta, just defending that from all the armor attacks. And while I was successful there were a lot of infantry that were shooting at me all the time. And this is why I requested a gunner. But if I had maybe adapted my loadout in between deaths, I might have been more successful. If I were to play this round again and choose to play the anti-armor role in the MBT again, then I would probably switch out my high explosive round for either the armor piercing or sabot shell, as these have a lot faster trajectory and less drop. And I would have switched out my night vision optics for zoom optics, as this map is really, really big. I'll show you guys a little clip here where I end up on shooting at enemy. I shoot at enemy armor from a perpendicular angle and end up missing a lot of shots because the difference in the travel speed in my staff shell and high explosive rounds are so different that I just misjudge almost every shot. Granted, it's on moving targets, but I had a very open line of sight, and If I had a different loadout, I probably would have hit them and prevented them from pushing onto that island. So in the end, this is just food for thought when you're crafting your loadout at the beginning of a round. It is worth taking a minute to think about the map you're on, look at your own armor assets, and think about comparing that to theirs, because they'll have the same stuff on the enemy team. If there's not a whole lot of armor assets on either team, then it's worth considering a more balanced loadout like the armor piercing round, which is kind of the middle ground between the Sabo and the high explosive. It compromises damage from the high explosive for the velocity of the Sabo, and then maybe pairing that with, say, the canister round if you're going to be hitting a lot of infantry or seeing a lot of transport vehicles. The canister round for the MBT is really strong against transport vehicles and helicopters. So if you end up seeing a lot of those, maybe trade out your LMG for the canister. Anyway, I hope this helped some of you who are having trouble with the main battle tank and kind of positioning yourself. If you're going to be close range a lot, really consider having something for infantry. But for all you tank snipers out there, try out that Sabo round with the staff shell as a secondary and zoom optics. It is very, very mean. Maybe the next video I do for the MBT will include some footage in that. Anyway, good luck out there. Adapt your loadout to the situation. You'll find a lot more success. Until next time, Sin out.